Hello YouTube, Dave here again, and today we are taking a look at some of the newest items to be released by Paizo Publishing for both the Pathfinder 2nd Edition and Starfinder role-playing games. So these are items that have been sent to me by Paizo for the purposes of putting in some videos, and I do want to do individual reviews of the things that we have here. There's a lot of stuff though, so it's something that it might take me a little bit to get through everything. So for the very least, what I want to do is have everything kind of all in one place, just so you can see some of the newer releases, some of the newer products that are out there, if you are looking to pick them up at your local game store. So we're going to start with some Starfinder related products. So the first thing that we have for Starfinder is we've got the part 3 of the Drift Crashers Adventure Path. This is Masters of Time and Space. So I will be doing a review of the Drift Crashers Adventure Path very, very soon. I like to wait until I get the entire adventure path, so I could just sort of talk about it as a whole, and then eventually, if I have more time to work on them, I can get into more like individual chapter reviews. But this was part of the Drift Crash or the Drift Crisis storyline, where drift space has become unreliable and much more dangerous than it had been before. The inability to actually navigate it properly. Yeah, it's just so it's kind of a cool thing to see, like the crisis and how it's going to impact the Starfinder universe. So we do have this adventure path, which was part of that storyline. So this is, like I said, the third part of 3. So looking forward to diving into that. We also have a Starfinder flip mat. So this is the Metropolis flip mat. And I really love the flip mats in general. They're some of my favorite products, some of my favorite accessories. And I've mentioned this several times before, and I always think it's important to kind of state this. It's been a great source of inspiration for like a one-shot, or just to even kind of start building a story around. Like one of the first times I ran Starfinder, it was actually an impromptu session where I picked up one of the maps like a day or two prior, and I just had an idea that came to me as soon as I started looking at the map, ran the adventure. It was all like the adventure itself was pretty much entirely improvised, and it was a ton of fun to go through. So we got the Metropolis one here. This is a 24-inch by 30-inch map, and it does say here, so let's see, nothing beats the hustle and bustle of high-tech Metropolis. Citizens rushing to their destinations, hover vehicles locked in traffic jams, and vehicles of mass transit rumbling high above or far below the streets. Not to mention the undercurrent of adventure lurking in every alley, shopfront, or rooftop. This double-sided Starfinder flip mat features the streets and skyscrapers of a cutting city center on one side and a wide-open traffic circle around a modern sculpture garden, perfect for a vehicle or mech combat on the other. So yeah, really cool stuff. So there you got your sort of circle area, and then we've got just the regular city streets there. So these things are awesome. I love them, and definitely check them out. And also, we have the Interstellar Species book. So this thing is actually really, really cool. I will be doing a full flip through and review in the very near future. But yeah, I love the fact, like, the inside, it actually almost looks like I think it's just meant to be like a height comparison chart, but it almost looks like like the police mugshot kind of thing. But yeah, you get some new playable races in here. And what's also kind of cool is that there's a brand new class in here called the Evolutionist. And I haven't had a chance to read it too much, but they basically have the abilities to alter their physical being depending on the situation that they're in. So again, that's just really, really cool stuff. Then we got a ton of new options for the existing classes already, including the classes from the Character Operations Manual. And yeah, we got all the new playable races that are in here, or actually all the playable races. Sorry, not just in this book, but just from all the other ones. I think this is actually a lot of these are from like the Alien Archives, some Adventure Path stuff. But yeah, really, really cool. And then the ability to customize your species. Yeah, there's just going to be a lot to this that I cannot wait to read more and more of. So yeah, I love this. Starfinder was actually the RPG that really got me hooked on Paizo's game library. So absolutely love that. All right, so that was the Starfinder products, but we also have a bunch of Pathfinder 2nd Edition goodies. So the first things that we're going to show here are going to be the Adventure Path installments. So we've got 4 and 5 out of 6 for the Pathfinder Bloodlords Adventure Path. So this is number 4 of the 6 parts, the Ghoul's Hunger. And I actually mentioned in previous video just like how much I love ghouls in, you know, as an undead creature. And I never felt that they really got used really well. So I'm really curious to read this one to see how ghouls are kind of handled, because most adventures that I've ever read just treat ghouls basically like they're zombies, only that they're fast enough to move and attack at the same time. So, you know, I like the idea because ghouls still have intelligence. I like the idea of them actually showing some of that intelligence. So yeah, really looking forward to this one. And then we got the Taste of Ashes, which is part 5 of 6. So at the time I'm recording this, I just opened the box a few hours ago with all the stuff in here, and I didn't have a chance to actually, you know, really read too much. I flipped through the Interstellar Species book a little bit, as well as very cursory flip through of the last book that we're going to show. But yeah, really cool stuff. I'm looking forward to getting the complete adventure path, and it's the one that I think of all the adventure paths that are currently out there. For 2nd edition Pathfinder, the Bloodlords one is the one that I kind of want to run the most. We also got some accessories here. So the first one we're going to show is the Pathfinder Flip Tiles Monster Layers expansion set. So this has 24 double-sided tiles, and with the expansions, they tend to be more specifically themed versus the starter set, which I actually had. The starter set, I did an unboxing video for that one. For the monster, or for the villain layers, or whatever it's called, monster layers. And those were actually some really cool tiles. I think the one that I made had sort of like the Wizard's Tower with the arcane barrier going around it. So that was in the starter set, which actually kind of surprised me. But here we've just got some, looks like almost some environmental stuff going on. So I will be doing an unboxing video and putting together a little map using the tiles that are in there. We also have the Pathfinder Relics deck. I think of all the things that I have in this video, this is the one that intrigues me the most, because typically a lot of these, you know, equipment decks that, or like the card decks that Pathfinder or Paizo has put out for Pathfinder have usually been tied specifically to books. So you had, like, you know, the monster, the bestiary battle cards. You had the NPC cards. You had the gear decks for like guns and gears, the guns deck and the gears deck. You had some like magic item decks. But this one, I think this is actually wholly unique. So it's not actually just, you know, reprinting from the core, like from the source books. Because it actually says here that essentially what this is a means of creating magic items that actually become more powerful as the player does. So it's still sealed. I haven't opened it up yet to do the review video or anything yet. This will probably be the first thing that I actually do the review video for of the things that I'm showing here today. But it actually comes with 84 power cards for the relic, and then 24 relic seeds. So that gives you sort of ideas for like the magic items to use for the power cards that you have. And I think probably just some ideas of how to incorporate them, or some, you know, things around that. So I don't know anything about it yet, but I will be doing the video for this. I'm recording this on a Wednesday night, and we, if all goes to plan, we're going to be going away for the weekend. So Sunday night is probably where I'm going to be doing the unboxing video for this. So really looking forward to that. We also have a couple of flip mats here for Pathfinder, and these, again, like the flip tiles, the flip mats, these could be used in any RPG. It doesn't specifically have to be, you know, Starfinder or Pathfinder. It could be any like science fiction or science fantasy role-playing game, or any kind of like fantasy RPG. Will work perfectly fine. But we've got the Deadly Minds multi-pack. So multi-packs are pretty awesome because they actually have 2 double-sided maps in them. And these are just the standard size maps, so they're the 24 by 30, but they've got 4 different levels of like a mining complex, or you could even, if you don't really worry too much about the minecart trails, this could even just be like some sort of like cave complex as well. But yeah, this is really, really cool. You can kind of see the maps there. I am trying to organize my stuff so that I can actually unfold the maps and show them fully in video. I just realized earlier when I was recording some pickup stuff that the tripod that I have is actually adjustable. I don't know why it never clicked in my head before. I think it's just because the ones that I've always had in the past were, when they were fully extended, are the size that this one came at. But yeah, so this is a slightly higher angle. It does make it a little bit hard for me to see what I'm doing, but it looks like everything's lined up properly. So yeah, with the higher camera angle and the table that I had just completely crammed full of stuff, I'm actually able to take most of the stuff off because this is where I have my belt collection. So yeah, I should be able to start actually opening these up and unfolding them and showing them on camera. It's strangely enough, I had someone accuse me of not actually owning these, and like saying that I don't open them because I don't actually own them and I have to send them back. And like, that's not the case. Like, these are mine to do whatever I want with. I just didn't have room to actually unfold them on the table. I mean, like, 2 feet by 2.5 feet is still, it's a big, amount of space there. So, and you do get to see the full maps on the backing as well. But yeah, so I'll be doing a video showing those off as well. Another flip mat that we have is actually connected directly to the next thing I'm going to show, and this is something that I'm also going to be doing a review video for very, very soon. But I'm going to share my basic thoughts on it here, and I'll try to go into a little bit more detail. But what we have is the Crown of the Kobold King. So this is the flip mat and the Crown of the Kobold King adventure book. So this is, since you have like the map and adventure combo, this is a lot like things like the Slithering or Fall of Plagstone, was it the Night of Grey Death? So these are like your standalone adventures that aren't connected to Adventure Pass. They usually have an accompanying flip mat, and the flip mat for this one's actually really cool because you've got a like a ruined cathedral on one side, and then just have like a graveyard on the other. And one of the things that people have always said about the flip mats is that it's hard to reuse them. Because especially if they're like dungeon complexes, once you run it, like, the players know where the stuff is and it kills some of the magic. And I don't think that's necessarily true, but you do have to have some time in between them. But with something like cathedrals, for example, it makes a lot of sense that, if you use like a similar faith for the different things, like, they would have similar layouts. And because you can use dry and wet erase markers, you can simply like fill in like broken or smashed down walls or something like that to show that they're intact. So I think this is going to be a little bit easier to reuse, and the graveyard side is going to be great because a lot of adventures will have a point where there's undead in the graveyard, and you've got the graveyard there, which is really, really cool. So they went with the more reusable of the maps because most of the maps in the Crown of the Kobold King adventure is a kind of a dungeon crawl type scenario where you're going sort of deeper and deeper into like underground cave systems. And it would be harder to get those to actually fit on these size maps. So I think they did a really good job with that. And what's really cool about the Crown of the Kobold King is that, unlike the Fall of Plagstone or the Slithering or some of those other ones, Troubles in Otari, I think was another one. This is not a brand new adventure like we had with the other ones. This is actually a compilation and retooling of 3 old school Paizo modules that were released before Pathfinder as a role-playing game existed. So they were actually released under the Game Mastery product line, so they weren't even like Pathfinder on here. The adventures were set in Golarion, so they were using the campaign world that is become synonymous with Pathfinder, and at least sort of in Starfinder as well. But this predated like the Pathfinder stuff at all, so it was under the Game Mastery product line. And the three individual modules that they are sort of updating for Pathfinder 2nd Edition here were originally released, obviously, individually over a period of time, but they were capable of being run one after the other to create sort of a campaign arc, which is what we have here. This is, I think, takes players from 1st to 6th level by the time they finish everything off here, so you get a pretty decent level range for this book. And one of the things that they did do, because the original modules were capable of being run as a combined story, but had to be able to sort of stand on their own, there were just certain elements that worked within the individual modules that don't really contribute to a unified story. So certain events or NPCs or encounters might be either altered or removed from the originals because they weren't really part of the Kobold King storyline. They were just other things that could lead to other plot threads, either for people's home games or other modules that went in a completely different type of story. So, but yeah, this one is really, really cool. It's nice to see like kobolds get some pretty decent use here. The Kobold King himself, he's sort of becoming obsessed with trying to awaken the powers of this of the crown that he wears, not understanding perhaps fully that the crown is actually sort of inhabited, I guess you could say, or influenced by the spirit of the Whispering Tyrant, one of the most famous villains in Galarian history. In fact, the graveyard is actually comes into play because the seals, one of the three seals that actually keeps the Whispering Tyrant sealed away and hidden from the rest of the world, was actually damaged prior to the adventure path going. And during the course of the adventure, like this wave of necrotic energy kind of pulses out from it and causes some of these undead creatures to emerge from the town's graveyard. I'm not doing it too much justice here, but I think this is actually a really, really cool adventure. It's a great dungeon crawl. There's a couple of events that take place back in the base town, Falcon's Hollow, I think it's called, which is actually kind of a really dank and corrupt and kind of an awful place. Yeah, it's just a really, really cool adventure. There's a few different plot hammers to use at the beginning to kind of get your players going, and then you can add other stuff in to keep them going through the dungeon complexes, the tunnels, the natural caves system that exist, kind of below ground. Anyway, it's a really awesome adventure, and yeah, again, this is something that I really do want to run, and I want to see more of this stuff too. Like, I was really excited to learn that this was actually an update of older, like, pre-Pathfinder modules. So I would love to see more of that coming out in the future. But yeah, awesome, awesome stuff. All right, and finally, we've got Impossible Lands. So this is a Pathfinder campaign setting book, and like the Absalon book, like the Mogwani Expanse book, this one is pretty hefty. You can tell, like, I had just taken this out of the box because there's still remnants of the freaking packing peanuts stuck to them. But yeah, this thing looks really, really cool. It has a couple locations that I'm really interested in. Like, I think it's Osirian, I think is one of them. That's kind of like the Egyptian themed portion of like the Galarian world. And I love ancient Egypt. I'm not like an expert on it, but I always loved the flavor of ancient Egypt. And to see it in RPGs is something that I really, really do like. Some of my favorite locations, even if I don't really use them a lot, some of my favorite locations have always been kind of inspired by ancient Egypt. So really, really cool stuff there. I'll be doing a flip through and review video of this in the very near future as well. All right, so that was some of the new releases for Pathfinder and Starfinder over the course of the last month or so. And I want to thank Paizo for sending these out to me. I really do appreciate it. I will be trying to get to as many of these reviews as I can. We are coming into the month of December at the time that I'm recording this, and December is a pretty hectic time. So it might be in the new year before I get all this stuff kind of handled. But I will be doing my review videos for the Relics deck and the flip tiles probably within the next few days. as well as my review of Crown of the Kobold King, because I actually wanted to get that out a little while ago and just had some, back issues and stuff, but we're not here to talk about that. Anyway, once again, thank you very much to the great people over at Paizo for the amazing quality of the products that they put out. Some of the best campaign setting books I think I've read in a long time have come from them, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to diving deeper into each and every one of these products. But these are currently available at your local game store, or they should be able to order them in. So I highly recommend, if any of these looked interesting, go down to your local game store and inquire about it. Because yeah, the stuff that Paizo puts out is always of the highest quality. So once again, thank you very much for each and every one of you taking time out of your day to watch this video. It does mean the world to me, and I will see you all next time. Until then, take care.